All right, so we're going to do 17 through 19, so multiple questions here. All right, so we have this experiment, and we're measuring the rate of respiration in crickets and mice at 10 degrees Celsius and 25 degrees Celsius. And just for perspective, 25 degrees Celsius is approximately room temp. So 10 degrees Celsius is pretty cold, right? I mean, relatively speaking, that's decently cold, right? It would feel chilly to us. So again, this is performed using a respirometer, an apparatus that measures changes in gas volume. Respiration was measured in milliliters of O2 consumed per gram of organism over several 5-minute trials, and the following data was obtained. So again, it's basically they normalized the O2 consumption for the weight of the organism. That way, we're getting essentially like metabolic rate normalized to their weight, which is good. That's what we want to do. Okay, so let's look at the question for 17. During aerobic cellular respiration, oxygen gas is consumed at the same rate as carbon dioxide gas is produced. In order to provide accurate volumetric measurements of oxygen gas consumption, the experimental setup should include which of the following, and that is going to be A. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, it has to be a substance that removes the carbon dioxide gas, because if you consume as much gas volume as you essentially exhale, we have a problem because it seems like there's no change, right? So yeah, we need we're gonna need something that removes that carbon dioxide gas. Okay, so let's go on to question 18. Okay, so according to the data, the mice at 10 degrees Celsius demonstrated greater oxygen consumption per gram of tissue than did the mice at 25 degrees Celsius. This is most likely explained by which of the following statements? Okay, so A says the mice at 10 degrees Celsius had a higher rate of ATP production than the mice at 25 degrees Celsius. So this looks pretty good, but let's look at the other ones. The mice at 10 degrees Celsius had a lower metabolic rate than the mice at 25 degrees Celsius. So let's think about this for a second. Metabolic rate is directly proportional, so I'm just going to say directly, this little thing just means proportional. So it's directly proportional to ATP produced, right? So the greater the metabolic rate, the more ATP we're going to produce. So if they had a lower metabolic rate, then I would expect that there would be less oxygen intake, and it's the opposite, right? There's more oxygen intake at that lower temperature, so that doesn't make sense. So B is out. C, it says the mice at 25 degrees Celsius weighed less. Well, again, look, it says right here, what does it say? Per gram of organism. So O2 consumed per gram of O2 consumed per gram of organism. So they already took into account all their weights and normalized it, so that's out. And this says the mice at 25 degrees Celsius were more active than the mice at 10 degrees Celsius. And obviously, I mean, that's not active. What does that even mean, right? It's just not very specific. Also, it doesn't seem to be the case because at 10 degrees Celsius, you have that higher oxygen consumption, so D is out. So therefore, A is the correct answer. Now let's move on to question number 19. So it says, according to the data, the crickets at 25 degrees Celsius have greater oxygen consumption per gram of tissue than do the crickets at 10 degrees Celsius. This trend in oxygen consumption is the opposite of that in the mice. The difference in trends in oxygen consumption among crickets and mice is due to their, it's not relative size, right? Because these are all normalized for their weight and their mass, right? It's not the mode of it's not the mode of their nutrition because they're not being fed right now, right? And it's not the mode of ATP production, because ATP production in any organism that has, mitochondria and that uses aerobic respiration, again, I believe it talks about it. Well, anyway, long story short, anything that has mitochondria is going to require oxygen for aerobic respiration, right? Anyway, and then mode of internal temperature regulation. This is going to be the correct answer here. So it could be that the crickets like it to be cold, right? And that the heat is actually detrimental to their physiology. So they require ATP to basically try and lower the body temperature. So therefore, C is going to be the correct answer there. All right, and yeah, guys, that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.